Hey guys, this is Megan from You Go to Be Kidding. This week we are dealing with freeze-dried milk. I'm going to show you the process of what it takes to put our fresh raw goat's milk in the freeze dryer, but then I'm also going to show you and have our family test out how it tastes when we reconstitute it. We haven't really done this. We kind of did once, but we are hoping to use the freeze dryer for our winter milk blues when all of our ladies have dried up, and we want to test out to see if any of us actually like it. So a few months ago we did freeze dry some milk and we wanted to test out if that would work for us, and when we went to reconstitute it, we had a hard time with the fat separating. If you don't know, goat's milk is naturally homogenized, so the fat does not separate out like cow's milk does if it sits, but it does a tiny bit. And I probably used a little bit older milk to throw in the freeze dryer because I was trying to deal with it all and manage it, and we were drinking the freshest stuff, and I probably put a couple day old milk in the freeze dryer. And so I think that was enough time for some of it to separate out, and we had a really hard time when we tried to reconstitute it. But that was months ago, and we actually haven't tried again until just recently. So this time we put the freshest milk in. I took the milk straight into the house, I filtered it, and then poured it right into the trays in my freezer, and I have some footage of those trays in our milk freezer, and they would just sit there until I had enough trays ready to start in the freeze dryer. And so it's just about time to go get them out of there. So let's go see what the freeze dryer is up to, and then we'll get the milk out and see how it goes. So here's the freeze dryer. It is done, and actually real life homesteading. Let's see if I can show you how long it's been in here. That says 88 hours. And that is 88 hours of us leaving it in here because we weren't ready to manage it. One downside to doing milk in the freeze dryer is it's kind of messy to put away, and we've just had a lot going on. So we got it in here, we ran it. It does take about 48 to 50 hours for the milk to freeze dry. And so that's just something to build in, to know that that does take a little bit longer than normal food items, but it definitely does not take 88 hours. The brilliant thing about the machine is I can keep doing more dry time if I'd like, to just make sure it's done, or I can just let it in here. It will stay frozen. It will keep it at the super cold temperature. It's all good to go. And then I just had to hit warm trays before I pull them out of here, and they're up nice and warm. I probably should go ahead and stop that, but I'm just about to pull them out, and we'll get them upstairs, and then we'll see how it goes from there. Alrighty, so we have the milk trays up here, and the girls and I are going to get the milk off the trays and put it in Mylar bags, so that way we can seal it and store it for a long time. But first we're going to pull a little bit aside and put it in a cup, and then add some water and let that reconstitute while we work. What do you think? Do you think it'll be any good?
I don't know.
What do you think?
I don't know.
Yeah, so we'll see when we're done, but I'll show you a little bit of how we get it in the bags. It is a little bit of a mess, and so this is the one thing that definitely makes doing milk not the easiest thing ever, just because mentally I always have to prepare myself to make this mess. We have gloves on because it gets all over our hands and stuff, and it just makes it easier to deal with, but let's get to work. All right, so we're gonna get some of this off the top. It's super flaky. It's easy if you go around the edge. Peel it up. We're gonna put some in our cup. One thing that's been hard for us to figure out is exactly how much powder to how much water we need. So that would be a little bit of this experiment. I know that the more you like mess with the powder and actually blend it or smash it down, the smaller it gets. Like I put in maybe 3/4 of the jar, and it goes down to 1/3. But let me add a little bit more. Okay, so now I'm gonna kind of chop this all up, make sure it's really fine. All right, now I'm gonna add some water. So according to Carolyn Thomas, I think it's the Homesteading Family, she said you just add up water to the level of the powder. Oh, and of course our Berkey is empty. probably good. And I can try to decide if I want to stir it or shake it. We're just gonna shake it. Then we're gonna set this aside in the fridge while we put the rest of this milk away, and we'll come back and show you what it looks like. So here.
We have a bag?
Yeah.
I don't think we need this spoon.
I don't think we need the spoon either. Oh, you know what we did? We scrape around the edges. And then actually dumping it in the bowl
Yes.
makes it easier because then we can put it in the bag from there.
Can I split
Yeah.
the other one? You can't see it.
Esther, could you run the camera so you can actually show what we're doing? So pause, Ellie. Esther, you don't pause. Just maybe come around here.
Yeah. No.
Esther,
Come
come over
around.
here. Come around here. Be careful of what you show in the background, though. Like, the computer desk is super messy, so try not to go past. Ellie, go shut the door real quick. Is it still filming?
This door? Yeah.
Okay. All right. Okay, cool. All right. Yeah, so scrape that way. Yep, so it goes down into the middle of the pan. Good, good, good. Good. So now go on the outside. So you want to go out like this so it doesn't fall down. Yep.
It is really flaky and sticky.
Yep. And you can actually like tap. Let me see. Okay. This is where it makes a big mess. Okay. Alright, Allie, you take the camera. And Esther will give you one. That's fine, I can cut it together.
Okay.
Alright, like that.
Sheila.
So actually just start with the bottom half. Turn it over and scooch it down. Yep. So the girls and I finished, and we have a big mess, so I'm going to clean up the mess, and then I need to seal the bags, and then we'll try the milk. But I wanted to share, so I have a large size freeze dryer. I have the long trays, and it is a 6-tray unit. Only 4 of them had milk in it. It's not quite 2 gallons of milk. I can fit almost 6 cups on one tray as I'm trying to pour it in the freezer and get it frozen that way. So yeah, 4 trays with 6 cups each. That's not quite 2 gallons, but it's pretty close. And yeah, and then this is my Mylar bag, and let's see, it's not even halfway full. I probably could have combined these 2 bags, but at the same time, when I open it back up, I don't want to have a huge quantity of milk opened up at the same time. So we're still learning this. This is our first, season with the freeze dryer. We're just about at a year. November will be 1 year with our freeze dryer. So we're still learning the ropes on what is the best way to package it and how we'll use it best. But I opted to put it in 2 bags, even though I had room. So that way when I open it, I don't have a ton of milk all at one time. But yeah, let me show you the mess and what it looks like to have done milk, and then I'll show you our taste test. So this is the aftermath. You can see this fine powder everywhere. You can't quite get it all off the trays, and it's all over the measuring cup. It spread itself all over the counter. And so that's actually why the girls and I were wearing gloves, to be able to have clean hands when you're done, just pull them right off. But it does make quite the mess. Thankfully, it is super easy to clean up because it cleans up so well with water. And these trays are dishwasher safe, so it's really no big deal. I actually did do 2 other trays that I just threw some herbs on there because I thought there was no reason to waste the space in the freeze dryer. So I had some goldenrod and things to freeze dry. And that's cool too because you can mix things and there's no trouble with that. So, all right, let me get this all cleaned up and I'll come back and show you sealing the bags and our final taste test. All right, I have the 2 milks. I have fresh milk and I have freeze-dried milk. And we're gonna see if I have any willing participants. I think the girls will help me out. All right, I got 3 willing participants. Take a small sip of one and then a small sip of the other one. Tell me what you think.
Yeah. No.
You know which one's which?
Yeah.
I think it's pretty easy to tell which one's which.
That
Okay.
That one's a fresh milk.
Okay.
That's not freeze. Yeah.
Okay.
It also gave
All right. How was?
Tastes like jalapeno in a freeze dryer.
Okay. So I stopped it right in the middle there because I don't know how the mic was doing. But so what do we think?
It was okay, but
All right.
not the best.
And yeah, what did you
The
think?
fresh milk is way better.
Yeah, of course. Esther, what did you think?
Our milk tasted like water.
Which one? The freeze-dried one or the fresh milk?
The freeze-dried.
The freeze-dried one. Yeah, so Damien and I tried it too, and we actually are getting a little hint of jalapeno, which I think is actually from our freezer. I don't think it's from the freeze dryer. So we'll have to be really careful about freezer taste. It did sit in the freezer while it was freezing for a couple of days while I collected milk. But overall, this is much better than our last experiment. It's not perfect, but it's better than having no milk. Alrighty, so there you have it. It's not a huge success, but I wouldn't call it a failure either. A few months ago, like I had said, we had tried to do some and the fat separated out. And even when we reconstituted it, it did not mix in well. And this is way better. I could actually drink that. I can put that in my coffee and be fine. The stuff before I couldn't even mix into my coffee. And there are some tips to maybe even try blending it or warming it up as we mix it. But this I'm really happy with, especially since it really only sat there for about 15 minutes. I think if we reconstituted this in the fridge and left it, overnight, I think it would definitely be workable. That is something I can definitely manage. So it's not quite as straightforward as, oh yes, put it in the freeze dryer and it's perfect, but it's pretty good. And it is definitely the best way to store milk long term. Otherwise you have to come up with another source. So it definitely works for us and I'm happy to have the machine, but know that it's not exactly the same. Obviously fresh milk is going to be better, but this was pretty good. And as long as I can get rid of the jalapeno taste in my freezer, I think we'll be good to go. Well, thanks for watching. We'll see you next week.